Hello, listeners. I'm Timstradamus, and with me is my talented and beautiful co-hostess, Voyse.
Good morning, Timstradamus, and welcome to all listeners to the Pot of Gold at the end of the rainbow. Happy St. Patrick's Day!
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Voyse and I enjoy reading and talking about stories from the internet that are interesting, funny, and dramatic. Because of our love of stories, we've come together and created this channel to share with you those experiences.
And hopefully give you some food for thought.
Well, why don't we get right into the stories while I enjoy my morning cup of brew.
Oh, what brew are you going to enjoy this morning?
Strawberry lemonade tea.
That sounded like a robot, but let's continue. Well, since you're going to start with something that is so sweet, I've got some sweet St. Patty's Day stories for you today.
Okay.
For any listeners wanting to follow along, all story links are in the description below. Am I the a-hole for calling my brother's girlfriend to be fiance a gold digger? He is very wealthy and I just don't want him to get hurt. My brother, 26 male, recently started dating his girlfriend, 26 female. He has only had one serious relationship before, back when he was in college at Stanford. After that breakup, he was heartbroken for more than 2.5 years and refused to get into a relationship. He had a few casual flings. Recently, and I mean less than 2 months ago, he met this girl on Hinge and he literally fell in love. He's already talking about having her meet the family at Thanksgiving and proposing to her on her birthday in June. Here is the thing though, I don't trust this girl. My brother started a computer vision company while he was in Stanford, and he decided to drop out and work on it full time. Over the last few years and after COVID, it exploded. It is currently valued at nearly $300 million. I graduated from MIT last summer and currently work at his company as an engineer, and the last 2 months he's been completely different. Usually he's working in the office until at least 8 p.m. and then he's available on Slack until midnight. Now he logs off at 7 p.m. and leave the office to go spend time with her. He logs off Slack at 8:30. Everyone in the company has noticed. People have started whispering that the CEO is distracted. This is bad because everyone on the team has taken a huge risk leaving high-paying jobs, many making over $500K a year to less than $200K at companies like Google or Tesla, to work at a startup for a 26-year-old because they believe in him and want to change the world. I think she is a huge distraction and should be mindful of that. Recently, I met her for the first time and I was shocked. She's a sweet, pretty girl and makes $200K a year as a startup executive at a startup in a completely different space, SaaS. She went to a mid-tier college. All of that is fine, but what shocked me is how spoiled she is. She was wearing designer earrings, had a $15K bag, and booked an Uber Black on the way back to her place. Here is where I may have been the a-hole. When we got to her place, I commented on her decor and said I can see why you want to marry Bahi. Hindi for brother. Seems like you need someone to fund your expensive lifestyle. She kinda laughed it off awkwardly, but later my brother was livid. He told me to apologize. I explained to him I thought she was a gold digger. He refused to speak with me. I also told him his employees are mad because he's leaving work early and doesn't work Sundays anymore. He said he could handle it and call on all hands, but I am just trying to look out for him and for the company. Edit 1. She makes $200K sure, but he's worth nearly $300 million. That's like 150 times what she makes. $200K is a nice purse. $300 million is taking a private jet to Paris for lunch. Not that he has time. They are both the same age. Edit 2. The employees are all whispering about him being distracted because of her. This could be really damaging to him because everyone on the team works really hard by choice because they believe in the vision and in him. The company has always been, and everyone is an owner leadership style, so people don't need to get their vacations approved and PTO is unlimited, but people really believe and want to make the company successful, so they really only take it when they need it. Like I said, many people took pay cuts to work for him. I think he is betraying them. If the company doesn't grow as fast because of her, all our stock will be worthless. Am I the a-hole?
Wow, what a story to start off St. Patty's Day with.
We're gonna dig into some gold for St. Patty's Day.
The only gold digging I hear in this story is by the brother. Oh my goodness gracious. What is his problem? He has zero chill. I don't think we need clarification on this because it very much sounds just like cut and clear. Sounds like little brother is a little jealous of what's been going on since his brother has found someone that apparently he's very smitten with. Like, it sounds like they're both making good money. Regardless of what someone's worth, they're both making decent money in their lives at 26. I think we all can agree on that. I think that was very petty of the brother to call her a gold digger just based off of what she was wearing. She works. She makes good money. That's not even a conversation that he should be having with his brother's, I guess, their fiance, right? He's gonna propose.
He's
soon.
going to.
That's right. So I guess the OP is definitely the a-hole. He comes at it from a very aggressive standpoint from the start about how
Almost sounds like jealousy.
a lot of jealousy. Oh no, he's getting off at 8 p.m. Like, what? Work-life balance is important. And I think that's what a lot of people have learned through, especially with COVID, and it had a lot of people reassess what was important in life. Still, for a lot of people, working till 8 is a lot. So if you're telling me that 8 o'clock and him not burning himself out to the excess, some people say that by you burning yourself out and not doing the standard 8, you're actually doing yourself an injustice long term anyway. The burnout can become real. So for your brother to finally start taking a step back, yes, I understand that this is like a pivotal moment. Those people that you're saying are talking behind his back because they gave up high paying jobs, that wasn't on your brother's fault. That was on theirs for taking that leap. They invested in themselves by taking that leap into this company. So that's where I'm like, you using that as some weird scapegoat to oh yeah, all these people are depending on him. Stop that. That doesn't make any sense. They chose to leave those high paying jobs for the potential of making more money. You can't really, that one doesn't sit well with me. But yes, the little brother in this sounds very very jealous, and good for your brother though for finding someone, actually starting to build a good work-life balance. Yeah.
So all of Reddit does agree and say that he is definitely the a-hole. In fact, there's a comment that I wanted to read because the commenter actually responded to the poster's edits, and I appreciate his viewpoint. You are the a-hole. A relationship is not a distraction. It sounds like he's cutting down on overworking himself to spend time with someone he likes. As an Indian American, I know it's common for people to focus too much on work and forget to enjoy life. Let your brother be. He already works very hard. His girlfriend also has an amazing salary, and you have not given any evidence as to why she is a gold digger. She is using her salary to buy stuff for herself. She doesn't need your brother. Apologize to her. Edit. Your edit is worse. I really need you to understand that your brother works more hours than necessary and he's not betraying his employees. Please get rid of this mentality that your work is your life. His company will still be successful even if he's not working on it 20 hours a day.
Yep.
Another commenter actually raised a really good question. The company is valued at $300 million, but that's not necessarily what the brother is taking home.
Yeah.
You should go ahead and actually ask what your brother takes home every year so that you can actually put it side by side into comparison to what she makes, if you're going to be that judgmental. So we started with, as you would say, a spicy meatball. Let us go ahead and continue. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiance's family that he's unemployed after they kept implying that I was a gold digger? So, my fiance, male 33, comes from a well-off family. I, 29 female, come from a working class family. My fiance's family are nice, but they can't help throwing comments at me about how I might be a gold digger. For example, if he buys me something, they'll go, "Oh, Jason bought you that? You know what this looks like, right?" And or, "Wait, Jason paid for this? Only gold diggers make their partners pay for stuff all the time. Just saying."
Wow.
It's so demeaning, and my fiance does nothing to stop it, especially now that he's in a bad place in life after he lost his job. And since he's keeping it secret then, I'm the one paying for everything. This has been going on for 4 months. Last week, his parents invited us for dinner, and he insisted that we go, so we went. At dinner table, his mom grabbed my hand, literally while I was eating, and looked at my bracelet and went, "Oh, this bracelet looks really nice. Did Jason pay for it?" I nodded and reminded her that he bought it for me as a birthday gift last year. She was like, wonder how much it costs. She then leaned back and said, "You know, I remember when my brother was dating this gold digger woman. She'd receive expensive stuff like this," pointing at the bracelet. "Bracelet here for her birthdays." I was stunned. I cut her off and asked if she meant to say that I was a gold digger. She threw her hands up and went, "I mean, if the shoe fits," while laughing awkwardly. Silence took over. I looked at my fiance and he shook his head at me. Like, what? I snapped. I told her it was bold of her to imply I was a gold digger when I'm literally providing for her unemployed son, have been for 4 months now. They all looked shocked. She glanced at me in shock, and his dad asked if it was true, and my fiance just froze but looked so angry. An argument ensued, and dinner was cut short, and we had to leave after they started berating him. He had a rage fit in the car, just yelling and lashing at me. In my defense, I said that he sat by and let his mom continually imply that I was a gold digger, but he said that they never outright called me a gold digger, so it was all in my head. He said I still had no right to take advantage of his unfortunate circumstance to get back at his mom and expose him to his family. His parents went on about how disappointed they were, and now as a result, he got disinvited from Thanksgiving. He blew up at me because of it this morning and kept saying I screwed him over so badly when he was just an innocent bystander. Am I the a-hole?
I needed that pause because that was a whole lot of BS. So he is, the OP is definitely not the a-hole. So this one's super easy. When you can't defend your partner from anything your family does that's rude or inconsiderate, you're in the wrong like 100% of the time. Dang, for her to have bit her lip, because this is one the first time this has been implied to her. This has happened over the course of their relationship, it sounds.
Correct.
So, hey, had he stepped up and went, hey, maybe don't, she's not a gold digger. Had he just once said, cut the crap, I bet that stops, right? And if it doesn't, at least everyone knows where they stand.
Correct.
But she is not the a-hole for having to defend herself because her husband, is it husband? Her fiance doesn't have the balls to do the right thing and step up and say, look, she's actually been the one taking care of us. Like, you deserve what you got at that point.
So, all of Reddit does agree and say that she's definitely not the a-hole. In fact, there's 2 commenters I wanted to read because I just enjoyed their answers. The first one says, not the a-hole. I have to ask, do you see a future with this guy? He has no loyalty to you and is content to sit by and let his family disrespect you. When they get angry with him, it is your fault. Imagine how much worse this dynamic will be if you have children with him.
Sure.
He will allow his family to treat you like shit and teach your kids that you are unworthy of respect and dignity. I toss him before he makes your life a misery. And the next comment says, not the a-hole. I think you should uninvite your fiance from your wedding. He doesn't have your back. He's willing to lie to his family for months to protect his reputation. He's going to be willing to lie to you too. And this won't be the last time he blames you for the faults and actions of himself and others.
He's already showing you who he is. So if you don't pick up the clues, then I guess it really becomes your fault if you do end up marrying him. But hopefully maybe he sees some sense. I don't know.
So let us go ahead and go to another type of gold digger, shall we? Am I the a-hole for not inviting my daughter to dinner after she called my girlfriend a gold digger? I've never been particularly close with my daughter. After me and her mom divorced when she was 13, I saw her maybe once every 2 to 3 months and on birthdays and holidays. I do blame myself for that. After the divorce, I went into a sort of midlife crisis, although I was only in my early 30s. Over the last few years, I've dated quite a few women, but I wouldn't class any of those relationships as serious. 6 months ago, I started dating my current girlfriend. About 6 weeks ago, I invited most of my family out to dinner. My daughter, my siblings, and their partners, my parents. I felt like our relationship was at a point that I wanted to introduce her as my girlfriend to the family, and everyone seemed to like her. We had a fun dinner, but then after a few glasses of wine, me and my daughter got into this small argument. I honestly don't even remember what it was about, and during that argument, she called my girlfriend a gold digger and left shortly after. She generally just ruined the whole dinner. I'm not delusional. I know one of the reasons that my girlfriend is with me is money, and I assume everyone else in the family knows that too. Same way, one of the reasons I'm with my girlfriend are her looks. Last weekend, I threw a small indoor barbecue dinner at my house, and I again invited most of my family and a few friends and some of my girlfriend's friends, but I didn't invite my daughter. She very obviously doesn't like my girlfriend, and I didn't want a repeat of the last situation. However, when my daughter found out she wasn't invited afterwards, she sent me some angry messages calling me a selfish, narcissistic prick. And for whatever reason, one of my sisters has taken her side and said I should have invited her. So was I the a-hole for not inviting her?
So he's asking if he's the a-hole for the not inviting. That's it. That's the only thing he's
Correct.
asking for. None of the other situation that happened. If he didn't feel comfortable with inviting his daughter based off of the last interaction that they had, which sounded like it was a doozy. All right. They got a little dranky and some words got spilt, right? That's unfortunate. But if you know that someone, I guess I go back to, was there an apology? I don't think so. He doesn't say that there ever been an apology between the daughter and the current girlfriend.
No.
And it's funny because at least he understands. He's not under some misunderstanding about their relationship. He says, I'm with her because the way she look. And she with me because I got money. All right, fine. At least you understand. So I can't hate on there being an understanding. So, hey, he understands what it is. He didn't want to invite his daughter to a little get together because he knows how his daughter feels about said girlfriend. Is that wrong to not invite someone that you know already has problems with someone in the house? Like, I don't know. It seems harmless to me.
So, all of Reddit doesn't agree, and they say he's the a-hole.
Oh, no.
So, they say he's the a-hole for a number of reasons.
All right.
But I'll read this comment just to put another type of context into it.
Okay.
You're the a-hole. So you're dating a younger woman for her looks, and she's dating you for your money. Why are you so offended when your daughter is right? You are a selfish, narcissistic prick if you've essentially abandoned her for her entire teenage years, and now you're trying to introduce your sugar baby to the family as a serious relationship. She's closer to your daughter's age than your own. Then you throw a party and disinvite her because you're hurt from her telling you the honest truth of the situation that you agree with. You were drunk too and don't even remember the conversation. I get that you don't care about how much you hurt your daughter, but Jesus, guy, do better.
I could get it from that perspective, but I was only looking at it like, if they don't like each other, why would you invite these two people to the same party?
So I think it comes back to as she might have said the jab, but I don't think it's truly a jab at the girlfriend. I think it's a jab at the father.
Okay. I guess I can see it from there.
I don't think the daughter is truly attacking the girlfriend.
She was just pointing out to the father what he's been doing.
Exactly. And whatever it is that the argument was about, and here's the thing, we don't know what the argument is about.
Sure.
He doesn't tell us, and he doesn't even remember. He just remembers the height of whatever it is that hit. I
can see how the way you just worded it, I can see how that works, where from my point of view, I guess I was looking at it the wrong way, where it was like I thought that the daughter didn't like the girlfriend, but she was simply just pointing out what her father was doing with the girlfriend. So I guess I can understand why he would be the a-hole if I look at it through that spectrum. I had it the other way in my head though, where it was like, daughter doesn't like the girlfriend, so why would you have them come to the same party? Where it's more like she doesn't hate or...
I don't think she truly dislikes the girlfriend. Yeah, I think she just dislikes her father's choices.
Yeah, and that's all it was. So I can see that. It's still funny.
It is very funny. I mean, it's tragic that he couldn't at least be there for his daughter. I think that's the
feelings too hurt that he couldn't even like continue just to go, hey, you know what, you pointed out some hard truths.
Like he saw his daughter every 2 to 3 months, maybe based on his midlife crisis.
That's pretty bad.
I mean,
but at least he was honest about it.
He was.
He didn't hide behind those facts.
But at the same time,
it doesn't make it better.
When he hears it to his face and then he just disinvites his daughter. I don't know.
I love though his honesty. He's like, I'm with her for the look. She wants
she
money.
With me for the money. It's
at least you know who you are, I guess.
I suppose. Now on to our next story. Am I the a-hole for buying a house and hanging up when they called my husband a gold digger? Background. My parents are rich AF. They gave me a trust fund, and I had to ask them to do anything with the money. 6 years ago, I used my trust fund to buy a house with their approval. I sold it last year, this year, and made a profit. The proceeds of the house sale were no longer under control of my trust. I felt this would be a great way for me and my husband to establish boundaries, and for me to improve my strained relationship with him. I, 33 female, and my husband, 33 male, have now moved to a new state where we have been looking at properties for over a year. I got a great job with a company that is stable and well regarded. This week we find the perfect house. My parents were on a cruise. I roll. And I couldn't get a hold of them until this AM. They said I don't have any respect for them, and the fact is it's their money that made the purchase possible, that we probably made a terrible decision and bought a money pit, and then that my husband is a gold digger. I hung up on them to avoid saying something unforgivable. I paid off his student loans because with my trust fund, I could afford to. It put us in a better place to save for retirement and emergencies. My parents approved this transaction. They seem to think that giving me money buys them a controlling share in how my husband and I live our lives. I don't know how to move forward with them. My sister said I should apologize, but I think they should. Am I the a-hole? Edit 1. My husband has a remote job that pays well, and he got a promotion last year. He supported both of us for 7 years while I was a graduate student with a monthly stipend of $1,200 only 9 months of the year. He is a loving and caring partner whom I love and who has supported me and my dreams through thick and thin. That's priceless. Edit 2. I have been with my husband for 14 years. We have been married for 5. I paid off his student loans after we got married. He works in software development. Am I the a-hole?
So I guess I'll just go ahead and start this story off by saying that the OP is definitely not the a-hole. Unfortunately, when people do give you money, and I've seen this time and time again, they believe that they do have an actual say in your life. That's unfortunate. It's an unhealthy relationship because then you're doing it, everything has strings, and I hate when things come with strings. But it sounds like the OP knows this. So she has a trust that was given to her through her parents. They approved her buying a home when she was younger. She buys the home. It's now hers. Fast forward, she's with her husband now. They've been together for 14 years.
Correct.
They sell the home because they're going somewhere else, and she's using those funds to buy another home for her and her husband. I don't see a problem with that. The fact that she would even have to ask for permission in her 30s, because it sounds like her and her husband are very responsible people. We're not talking about like the average, when we say trust fund kid, we're not talking about that. They sound like they're on top of their stuff. The funny part is them calling the husband a gold digger for her having paid off his student debt.
With her trust?
I don't...
And their permission
they
already
already,
approved?
they signed off. It just sounds like they're trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do. Make their daughter disappear from their life because they're going to do a good job of that. She doesn't owe them an apology in my opinion.
Well, all of Reddit agrees, and they say that she is not the a-hole. There's some key points to take from this when it comes to the commenters. The moment that money was used for her, because the trust was made for her,
sure,
and she used it, yes, they lived in that home, and then they decided to sell. That no longer became her parents' money. Yeah. It doesn't matter what they think. The trust is made for an intended person, and it can be her parents' choice to dissolve that trust, sure, but that doesn't mean that anything that happens after that, whatever's coinciding after that, is hers and her husband's in this case. Well, let's get away from some family stuff and let's go into some relationships for boyfriends and girlfriends. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend he is a gold digger by his own standards? I have a boyfriend, Aiden. For some reason, he really dislikes his best friend's, Daniel's girlfriend, Leela. I don't exactly get the reason for his dislike. My guess is that Aiden and Daniel were kind of outcasts in high school, and Aiden adapted this us against the world view with his only friend. Leela, on the other hand, is a very lively, outgoing, bubbly girl with tons of friends. Aiden's newest reason to dislike Leela is that Daniel plans to take her to an all-expenses-paid trip abroad. He was ranting to me about Leela being a gold digger and using Daniel for his money. I tried to tell him that Daniel taking his girlfriend on a vacation doesn't make said girlfriend a gold digger, but Aiden couldn't be reasoned with. It bothered me so much, especially since my family took Aiden to countless vacations free of charge back when we were still in university. I mean, 15 plus vacations, mostly to different countries. I pointed out to Aiden that he came to plenty of vacations with me and my family, but he said that was different because he only came for me, so that I have more fun with him there with me and we build to share memories. I asked him why is what Daniel and Leela are doing any different. Daniel can afford to take Leela with him. He will have more fun with her there and they will make wonderful shared memories. If that makes Leela a gold digger, he must be a gold digger too by his own standards. Aiden got mad at me and said that he is extremely disappointed and hurt that I look at him like that. He got really offended and now seems to think that I actually accused him of being a gold digger instead of just trying to show him the error in his reasoning. Was I wrong for trying to draw a parallel between him and Leela? I didn't want to make him feel bad for coming with us on those vacations. I loved having him there. Do I owe him an apology? Am I the a-hole?
This is spicy. Meatball. I guess I'll start with no. The OP is not the a-hole. This is a funny story though. So it sounds like Aiden is a bit jealous, and maybe we're running into the same like last episode kind of situation with the friends being more than maybe friends. It's what was it, Nolan? The Nolan situation?
The Nolan situation.
You know, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it. Aiden sounds kind of like he's jealous that he's not gonna be able to go on a trip with his bud, and that's hurting him because when it got pointed out that 15 overseas trips that he got to go on with the OP and her family. That's a lot of money. So when it got pointed out, because she wasn't being mean about it. She's just like, by that standard, you are a gold digger if that's what you're holding her to. I don't see why she would be the a-hole in that situation. I think it's funny. I don't think she owes the boyfriend an apology. I think he needs to take the break off the jealousy for a second and just be happy for his buddy because, yeah, it makes him look very petty.
Reddit also says that she is not the a-hole. In fact, there's a couple small updates that the poster put into the comments that I'd just like to put here, just to provide some general background here. She says, well, I work in STEM field. I'm introverted and not very feminine in general. Aiden is encouraging of my work and seems to be proud of me for it. You are right that Leela is very feminine. She works in HR and Aiden kind of looks down at that. I never perceived Aiden's dislike to be directed towards Leela's femininity, but instead to be towards her extroverted traits and just her being generally different from us and our friend group. Additionally, she says in a separate comment, I don't think Aiden is into Layla or anything like that. He's just very protective over Daniel. Daniel went through a depressive period a few years back after a breakup, and Aiden was the one who went over to him every other day, got him food, cleaned his place, and helped him through it. He is probably just scared that it will happen again. Maybe he is already angry at Leela because he thinks she will hurt Daniel. I honestly don't know. I'm just making guesses. Now, there is one commenter that I would like to say their piece, and they put, she's not the a-hole. People don't like being cast correctly as hypocrites. Some people grow and learn to expand their viewpoints. Others dig in further. Hopefully Aiden is the former. If not, ... It just seems like Aiden just needs to grow up a little.
Yeah, I understand you can feel like protective of a friend, but to do it at slighting someone
just because they're different, that seems a little harsh.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's not like he's into Leela. He's not.
I never even suspected that was a thing.
He's not into his friend. It just sounds like he dislikes people who are different from what he's comfortable with. And if the whole group is more introverted and Leela's more extroverted, he's just ostracizing her at that point. So now on to our next great story, and our last one, unfortunately. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend's friends I make twice what he does when they called me a gold digger and he didn't defend me? I'm in a relationship with a guy who also works in tech. He makes $68,000 and I make $130,000. I am a mechanical engineer at a robotics startup. He works at a more stable job doing programming at a large company. He brought me to meet his friends at a party and they asked me about myself. His friends mostly work in tech too and talked about themselves in terms of their jobs. I told them I'm a hiker, I do archery, I love road trips and camping and riding dirt bikes, etc. Basically talking about my hobbies because work is just a way to get paid to do the shit I love. It's not how I define myself, and it doesn't come to mind when someone wants me to tell them about myself. One of his friends asked about work and I said, oh gosh, I don't want to talk about work at a party. Spent my whole day sweating my ass off in 95-degree heat trying to replace this busted ass motor just to find the replacement part was also I wasn't lying or trying to downplay that I have a good job. That really is how I spent my day, and I wasn't in the mood to talk shop at a party. Some other conversations came up casually that probably also made me seem poorer, like me saying that car dealership repairs were a ripoff and telling my boyfriend that my childhood neighbor's trailer caught on fire and I was going to visit and help her out. I wasn't doing it on purpose. I was literally just talking about my life, and I guess I gave the impression I was poor. It got later in the night. Everyone was getting drunker, and some of his friends, not close ones though, were making jokes about me growing up in a trailer and being a gold digger and being ready to jump to a richer guy. Really misogynistic shit, honestly, since they don't even know me and seem to just assume all girls are gold diggers. He didn't say anything. He later said it was because he'd smoked weed and gets quiet and has trouble carrying on a quick conversation when he's high. But regardless, I felt hurt he didn't say anything. I got irritated with his friends and asked, "Now why the hell would you say that when I make twice what he does?" His friends went quiet for a second and I continued saying, "There ain't no gold to dig here, not with him or anyone at this party. So do y'all think I'm cheap or do y'all think I'm stupid?" My boyfriend wanted to leave the party shortly after, and he was pretty upset with me for telling everyone I make twice what he does. I said I would have held my tongue if he checked his friends himself, but he didn't say anything, so I wasn't about to let them talk to me like that. He said it was humiliating, and now everyone thinks I'm a bitch. And I flippantly said, "At least they know I'm a rich bitch." He was angry I embarrassed him when I spoke up. I was angry I had to say anything at all because his friends were talking shit. So it should be on him to check them. Stuff is still tense. Am I the a-hole for explaining why I'm not a gold digger?
So I guess this one is a very dope story to end everything off on. The Saint Patty's Day miracle.
That pot of gold. She was the one that had the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
She's definitely not the a-hole. I think that's incredibly rude to have met someone and on regardless of whether or not you guys are under the influence of anything, to go ahead and like assume something about someone based off looks or how they talk, and without having first gotten to know them at all is your fault. If that's what you're going to do at a party and slam someone because you think or you perceive that they're being a gold digger somehow to one of your friends, you deserve what you got. That I would have paid to have been a fly on the wall and watched her dunk on all these people, because not only did she's like, I make more than all of y'all here. That's fantastic. And she wasn't trying to be rude about any of that stuff. It's just, unfortunately, the boyfriend kind of copped out and said that when I smoke weed, I don't talk. I think we're back in that situation where if you're not going to stick up for your partner when some things go down and they're being rude, you deserve what you get. So good for the OP. You're definitely not the a-hole.
Wow. All of Reddit also agrees and says that she is not the a-hole. In fact, the poster actually put a ton of comments about her interests and her philosophy, and she's a very interesting person. It goes to say that when she came back to a lot of the talking in the party, she said some of them seemed to say that how difficult it was to find a girl that wasn't into their money. And it was funny because her perspective is, I don't think it's not that they're not into their money, they're not into them.
Yeah, I think people sometimes get that messed up in life, where she points it out too, is like people, when they ask you about yourself, you quickly go to your job. And for a lot of people, that is who they are. And because she is right, though, that is on him for not checking them at the door when they brought that.
Gotta leave it there, my friends. It's not worth it. Just don't talk about it. Be a little civil at these parties.
Yeah. You fix your personalities, because if you think people are chasing you just for your money, you're going to be very sad and alone. Well, as our stories come to a close, don't forget, you see in the world what you carry in your heart.
If you have enjoyed listening to us read and talk about today's stories, please rate, subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content. We will be regularly posting on Tuesdays and Fridays.
We would love to hear your thoughts on the stories today in the comments below. And remember, if you post it, maybe we'll see it on the internet.